Yep, and we're back to this ROM hack again. This is now part 1 of the Twitch Plays Pokemon Crystal Anniversary Edition, or Anniversary Crystal, I should say. The Den save file is corrupt, so we're gonna have to start this one all over again. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I tried going back to it a couple times and it just didn't load. It said it was corrupt. I have a pretty good idea as to why that is, but still, I never faced this problem before. But anyway, let's just start this over again. I'm really surprised as to the amount of comments I've been getting for the post-game walkthroughs. Seems as if people have either discovered the ROM for the first time, because this is one of the older ROMs. I think at this point it's like close to being more than 12 years old, I think. So I think what happened with the previous save was that hang on, let me just do this first, and then I'll explain what happened. I'm bummed out that it happened, because this is one of those ROMs that really has little to no video documentation or any kind of documents online other than a couple of scattered Reddit posts. And of course, this is one of the newer features of this ROM hack, is that your rival isn't Gary or anybody like that. It's this new character, but I don't really know what her name is, so I'm just gonna go with Celeste. And this is actually one of the, right away, this is one of the main flaws I have with this ROM hack. Simply because she's really a non-factor once you get into Johto. And in this game, you'll see right now, you start in Kanto. So, for the most part, it's like a direct, I guess, copy of Gen 1. Even the starters, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur, right? But it is very different because obviously you're using Generation 2 graphics. But story-wise, it really does follow Generation 1 for like the first half of the game. Which I think only lasts maybe, I think 3 badges, if I remember correctly. Or maybe not even 3, maybe just, I think it was 2. I think Kanto ends after Misty. I don't know what I never knew what this was. Okay, that's wrong, but whatever. Let's just keep going. And then yeah, so you'll see it eventually, but expect Generation 1 for the first half of the game. As you can also hear some of the music too is ripped right from Generation 1. But the save file. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. I recently bought a new PC. It's like a tank of a PC, I should say. I mean, it's... I'm never gonna... Well, I shouldn't say never, but I'm probably not gonna have to buy a PC for the next 10 years. This thing is so beefy. I think it's got like a 5070 graphics card, which... To be honest, this is like really the first time I purchased a PC of this caliber. Like, I didn't know graphics cards were like as big as my face, pretty much. Let's choose Squirtle. Yes. Because we are Team Squirtle Squad here. I probably just angered a lot of people there by saying that, but... So I bought the PC, and... I guess in my excitement, I didn't really take this into consideration, but I cloned my M.2 from the old PC, and I tried, you know, I cloned it and I tried putting that into this PC, but I forgot that the older PC and this one don't match. They're not even close to being the same spec-wise. And so a lot of things, even though it powered on, it booted on, which amazes me still. A lot of things that I had on that older PC, you know, failed to work, and a lot of things became corrupt, so... A lot of those old save files I had, unfortunately, you know, got corrupt. and I can't continue the other one, so we're back to doing this again. And so I'm probably gonna lose this, but you know, it doesn't really matter. And so right off the bat, this game is a lot harder than your average Gen 2 ROM hack. I would say the AI is probably closer to, like, if anybody knows Drayan, though, if you play ROM hacks, you might have heard, damn, you might have heard of that name before. Probably along the lines of that, but just a tad bit easier. So there's a lot of moments where the AI isn't as intelligent, but like for important trainer battles, it's higher than average. There we go. And we went. Oh, my Squirtle's a female. Just noticed that. Okay, that's good that we got the level 6, because we are going to need it. And so what separates this hack from a lot of the older Gen 2 ROM hacks is that this is one of the first ones to implement the physical special split. Also, you have some newer moves from later generations. So that was also very interesting. You can run in this game, but because this was made by the same team that did Pokemon Prism, the running animation doesn't really look that great. But I mean, you can run. You technically can. It's just, you know. There we go. And so for the most part, I mean, it was very ambitious. This is like a pretty big ROM hack in terms of size. It's actually kind of amazing the amount of stuff they put into this. As you can see here now, the Pokemon, the wild stuff, the selections are actually much better than the originals. And so we're probably going to have to do a lot of training, which I'm probably going to do off screen. One of the things that really bothered me, I was saying before about, you know, the thing between Kanto and Johto. You start in Kanto, but you don't it doesn't last that long. And so your rival is essentially a non-factor here. I mean, she comes out here or there in Kanto, but you know, it follows the Gen 1 story for the first half of the game. But then you pretty much don't see her for all of Johto, I think. And there's also a lot of story that isn't fully fleshed out at all. And plus the way the developers decided to introduce you to Johto was kind of a letdown. And that right there, essentially, it shows you some of the things that this game tried to do that was actually kind of creative, but really implemented poorly. Of course, one of the main criticisms is the puzzles in this game. They're really difficult because, again, there's no documentation. There's really no video walkthroughs or tutorials. I think mine is one of the few that got any kind of traction. But you know, it's post game, so there's not a lot of difficult things in the first half of the game, post game. All that stuff really starts to happen in the post game. You could try your luck. I mean, if, you know, granted my style isn't really for everybody's, you know, everybody's cup of tea, so to speak. Because I'm not really one to do these kinds of videos. But you could try your luck on the official TTP channel on YouTube. But it's essentially a recording of them doing it live when this ROM hack was out there. So what they used to do was they used to stream these ROM hacks on Twitch. So if you're familiar, if you're in the ROM hacks and you've heard the term Bird Jesus or Lord Helix, that's essentially where all those things came from, those memes. It was from those streams that they would put out there. But like anything else, it's essentially them learning in real time, and so there's no timestamps, there's no commentary, so it's actually really difficult to find any kind of information through those videos, because it's a lot of trial and error. They're extremely long too. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to start this walkthrough series for the post games, and that's when all the problems begin for the player. And also too, I'm a big fan of Gen 2 ROM hacks. Granted, this is one of the older ones, but this is one of the older hacks that really showed just how much content you could cram into like a Game Boy Color ROM. Does she give me the map here, or let me see? Yeah, there we go. And I had full intentions of completing that walkthrough, but real life got in the way. And also, like, in my free time, this pertains to scam baiting, so this might not be interesting to those who are just watching this to get some answers for the ROM, but I've been compiling a lot of telecom data with the team that I'm working with when it comes to shutting down scam phone numbers. You know what? Let's grind. Before I finish what I was saying, let's just grind and catch Nidoran. So that way we can proceed into the Viridian Forrest. Because this is essentially just a straight through Gen 1 with Gen 2 graphics. Until we probably get to, I think, Vermilion City. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll continue into Viridian Forrest. Okay, and we're back. We just did some grinding. We caught Nidoran male. And so now Squirtle and Nidoran are at level 12. So that should be enough for us to continue into the Viridian Forest. There's not going to be any Team Fur for the first half of the game because obviously we're in Kanto. So I'll just use the Gen 1 team that I used when I used to play this back in the day. So let's see, let's buy 4 repels and 2 antidotes. And there's no potion. Great. I'm not gonna be doing much catching, so I only bought let's see here. I think I already got this potion, if I remember. Yep. Oh no. Yeah, I got it. Okay, great. Yeah, so Team Fur is probably not gonna come in until the second half of the game. I'm just giving you guys a thumbs up right now. The thumbs up, you hear me? The heads up, sorry. Speaking of which, you guys, for those wondering, right? You guys can actually use cheats in this hack. Game Shark cheats or Game Genie, whichever one it is. They do work. So what I mean is, if you guys find the old Game Shark codes for Pokemon Crystal, they work on this hack. So this is again, this is way before the days of disassembly projects. I think the Rainbow devs actually have their tools listed on their website for how to create a ROM hack. I think it's for Pokemon Brown, because they just recently updated that one too. This one's pretty much untouched. But they do work. So now obviously, because they added in new moves, right? Some of the old Game Shark codes for move changes, for example, they're probably going to give you different moves, because I think what happens is they remove the useless moves in favor for the newer moves. What those moves are, unfortunately I don't know. I should have led with Nidoran. Let me switch. but they do work. So I think if it helps anybody, I'll list the a link that has all of the working Crystal Game Shark codes for those that want it. There we go. Okay, even like the codes to modify wild Pokemon, all of those still work. And so I think that also brings me to my next point in terms of what's the difference between like a binary hack and something that's done with like a disassembly project, for example, which is becoming the norm with these ROM hacks now. It's using them off disassemblies rather than the older tools, which I think were pretty limited in what they would do. But I think I forgot to switch again. So with like a disassembly, for example, like a Pokemon Prism, if you're working with like a Gen 2 as the base, for example, and you've played Prism, or you've played maybe not Prism because that's not, you know, it was made using the same tools that this one was made. But let's see which one. There was a crystal hack, I think. I forget the name of it. It's been a while already. I think it might be Crystal Clear that was made with a disassembly. So you're allowed to do and implement and change everything right down to the source code. Whereas with something like this, you would need like a plethora of tools just to modify each part of the game. And so that gets tiring because you're using so many tools for so many different things. This is the old way in which these hacks were done. Whereas with disassemblies, everything is done through the disassembly, but the problem with those are it's number one, very difficult to install. Two, they're Linux based, and so if you're not familiar with Linux, you're gonna have to learn Linux. They do make versions for Windows, but they're all done through WSL, which is essentially Linux, right? So Linux based, I should say. And it's just not it's not a fun experience to do it. I mean, people say it's very easy to use those disassembly projects. I've found that to be quite the opposite. Because I've been dabbling in the ROM hacking as well. And I've made like a ROM hack of X and Y for a friend who said the game was too easy. And that was a fun experience because I've never actually played Generation 6 up until the Drano ROM hack I did on my channel, which was a lot of fun. So I made it in a similar style, but it ended up being too difficult for my friend. He couldn't finish it. But that's where we are in terms of this one. It was made with different tools than what they have right now. And so it's very ambitious, and it's amazing what the amount of content they put into this, like I said before. And I just looks like I got an email now from a telecom called Peerless, who's asking for more information about the scam I reported, which is it's a puzzling one, actually. It's a coin-based scam, and either the scammers appear to be based out of England, but the boys that I work with, they're of the opinion that it's they're probably based somewhere else, maybe in Africa. They all have British accents, so it's a really sketchy gimmick we got going on with those guys. But like I said, I mean, I'm recording this and I'm still... Shit, I forgot to switch. I'm recording this and I'm also still reporting phone numbers that scammers are using, so it's become a full-time gig. And I don't always have time to call the scammers up simply because I'm more invested now in just getting those numbers shut off and notifying the telecoms that, hey man, you got a scammer on your network and your network's constantly being abused. So the more communication there is with like a consumer, because, you know, you can call me a scam baiter all you want, but in reality, it's like the telecom world, I am a consumer. So the more consumers complain about these things, the more the telecoms become more aware that this is a problem that needs to be addressed. And the work that I've been doing sort of addresses the issue with the average person reporting a number for fraud. It's not easy. And, you know, thank God that I work with the boys that I do, because the operation wouldn't be the way it is now if I didn't have them to assist me in what I do. It's a team effort. I take no credit for what I do. But, like, for example, this telecom right here, in order for, like, the average person, Joe Blow, as we say, right, to report a phone number for fraud, they would first have to know where that number is coming from which telecom. And that's not very easy. You would think that would be like a service that's offered by phone plans and stuff, but it's not. And I think it should be. A lot of the boys and I think it should be. It should be very easy for the average consumer to look up what telecom owns a phone number, especially if it's like in the robocall area, which is what, you know, all these people are focusing on, which is wrong in my opinion, because it's not just about robocalls, but it should be very easy for somebody to look up those phone numbers, and then it should also be easy for the person to get in contact with the telecom. And therein lies the second problem we're going to stay in. Because there's a lot of telecoms on this, specifically the one that just got back to me, with a bunch of different email addresses. And although they're supposedly designated for fraud, it's not uncommon for us to run into addresses that are no longer monitored. And of course, it just delays the investigation. Or sometimes, if you email a telecom with a designated email address, this is where the incompetence begins. And the longer I do this, the more I understand why certain scam baiters believe that many mainstream telecoms are in bed with scammers. Because of the incompetence. When the lines get blurred, it becomes hard to separate incompetence from actual malicious behavior. Which I can attest to you right now, mainstream telecoms are not in bed with scammers. It's just like any other billion-dollar corporation. There's a lot of negligence, there's a lot of people that are paid a lot of money for positions they don't deserve to be in. It's no different than Example A, just name it. It's the same thing. And so, you know, myself and the boys, team, that's all due to the speed up, by the way, from grinding. Ignore that. We're building a lot of reports and submitting them to certain contacts we have about telecoms in terms of response time, or lack thereof, so to speak. And that's taking up most of my time. Which is why I haven't been able to do many calls as of late. The game's changed pretty much, like, not to discredit the work that other, YouTubers do, because it's important work too, but, the game definitely has changed. A lot of telecoms are taking action against, phone numbers that are being used by scammers. And the scammers are panicking. They're losing a lot of money. And so the fight now doesn't necessarily become trying to expose negligent telecoms. It's actually trying to find out the people that are selling these numbers to the scammers. Because they're not buying directly from the telecoms. And so that's the work that myself, the boys, we've been doing behind the scenes. And there we go, there's our first badge. So, like, right off the bat, this is just Kanto. Sandstorm, okay. One of the things I don't understand, though, is, like, okay, this is all Kanto, but they've also imported some music from Generation 1. Which I wish they would have kept, specifically the wild Pokemon theme, because the Johto, you know, I've always hated that one. The Gen 2 themes for Kanto's wild Pokemon, I've always hated that. Let's go buy some more repels because we are going to go into Mount Moon right now. So I think once we head into Cerulean, I'll follow up with the telecom in question. Let's buy 3 potions. And repel. I'll buy 3. Of course, there is a way to get more money here. Just sell useless items, but right now, it's still early in the game, and I don't really trust my team because it's pretty under level. Well, not under level, but you know, it's still very early. So let's go ahead and put Nidoran or Nidoran, whatever your preference is. Since it's the poison type, we're gonna run into a lot of poison and normal types. It has double kick, so it should be okay. We need to save Squirtle. So like a lot of those British coin-based scammers, for example, alleged British, they like to use the same telecoms over and over again. And one of them specifically has improved dramatically in terms of fraud response. Okay, that's not good. Mostly because I think they were getting sued by either the FCC, FTC, or both. Which is a shame it had to get to that point, but I mean, better late than never, I always say. Pidgey. We can use Squirtle now. And so they, like, within the previous week, I think those British coin-based scammers lost about 25 numbers on the same telecom? Why'd I use Tackle? There we go. So things are definitely looking up in terms of reporting phone numbers. Which is, if you're watching this, I did have like a plan that I was working on with my team to make reporting easier for the average person. We're stuck in the rut as to how to implement that successfully, because our biggest fear is implementing a system, but then all of a sudden it gets abused very easily, because as crazy as it sounds, the average person doesn't really understand the concept of spoofing numbers, which is what scammers do a lot. So they may call back with a number, and oh, the scammer just called me back, right? This is the average scenario we're talking about here. A person wants to report that phone number, but then next thing you know, that phone number turns out to be spoofed. A scammer spoofed it. Which is why when we do what we do, we always verify to make sure the number is still active. And again, spoofing is a direct result of scammers losing so many phone numbers. It's getting to the point now where they didn't even want to call people back anymore because they're afraid of losing their numbers. Because it costs a lot. So to put that into perspective, right? The bosses are the ones that make the most money. I think we can all agree that that's how it is. And so the scammers work off of like a salary and a commission system. When I say scammers, I mean the people that are actually taking the calls and making the calls, if they make them. And so they get like a really, really low salary. And so they're dependent upon those commissions. Now, what I mean by commission is every time they scam someone successfully and the victim pays money, the scammers disgustingly call that a sale. I mean, they refer to victims as customers. I mean, you know, it's... Anyway. And so, the more quote-unquote sales that they make, the more they make a commission at the end of the month. So they're always trying to scam people. And so the numbers, the toll-free numbers, if you get like a refund scam invoice or something like that, those numbers are only used to receive calls. That's how the scam is designed. They're designed to trick you into calling them. Those numbers are capable of making calls back, but they don't want to make calls on those phone numbers. What they do is they have a second number on the side. Each scammer working that call center has a second number on the side, what they call a callback number. And so those are the numbers that they've been losing because the boys and I have set up a system where we get those numbers when the scammers call us back. And now it's gotten to the point where the scammers don't want to call us back because they're losing those phone numbers. Because remember, although the boss does pay for the initial campaign on the scam image, for example, the invoice or the pop-up, whatever it is, the people manning the calls, they're responsible for their own phone numbers. So that comes out of their pocket, and it's very expensive to get those phone numbers now because of the way the telecoms have set up what is known as KYC policies, knowing your customer. So scammers are doing back-ended deals, so to speak, to get these phone numbers. It's costing them a lot of money. So every time a phone number goes down, they lose a significant amount of money, and it's not easy to not only get another phone number, but also start up the campaign that they lose. There we go. Which is why, personally, the FCC recommendation, we gotta go back now, of just simply blocking a phone number, it doesn't do anything. Because the scammer can just call someone else and you're back to square one. Like, the real solution is getting rid of the phone number, and that can only happen if the telecom receives a complaint. So we got that Red Bull, which is what myself and the boys have been doing this entire time. So while it is very fun to waste a scammer's time, because that's always very fun, because like I said, they have to pay for that number and they have to pay for those minutes. Our method is to report the phone numbers and get rid of them so that the scammer can't harass anybody else. So for example, if a scammer maybe has 3 victims on one of their callback numbers, once we get rid of that callback, that's it, it's over. They can't contact the victim anymore. And so it takes up a lot of time, but there's a lot of good good data being pulled in from that. And of course, it also reveals how incompetence really does ruin consumer trust. Sorry, I was checking my emails again, so I'm getting more emails as we play along here. Did I miss? What happened there? Should have been looking at my phone. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna have to follow up on that one. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to again balance the reports here and the walkthrough, so to speak. And so, it is, like I said before, you can use Game Shark codes for this, but even though the physical special split is implemented in this game, it still follows Gen 2, the Gen 2 EV system, which is not really the EV system, so it's confusion. Lear, I guess. I probably should have chose Tackle. But the EV system basically in Generation 2 was called Stat Experience. And so what that means is it's possible to max out all stats. Everything. HP, speed, special attack, everything. So Pokemon in Generation 2 were like tanks. So if you're gonna play this game and you're wondering what the EV is, it's Stat Experience. It's the classic one from Generation 1 and 2. And I think this game also makes it so that if you buy vitamins, you're able to max out all your stat experience through vitamins instead of the old way where I think it was 10, and then that's it, the game would stop. You wouldn't be able to increase it anymore. Of course, you can do it through battling by just battling a bunch of unknown, but that takes a lot longer. So I think also a lot of the glitches from the old Generation 2, for example, like the damn critical. Like the the Pokemon cloning glitch, which we also used back in the day to clone items, rare candy, so to speak, that also still does work here as well. And so, I'm training here, but there's going to come a point in this hack once we get into Johto where you're not going to be able to use the team you have right now. I think the game forces you to start over, so to speak. Which is another criticism I have of this one. says a lot because, you know, a lot of people might consider me to be a Gen 2 mark or a Gen 1er. Which I am. Generation 2 is my favorite, but still, I think it could have been handled a lot better. No, we're gonna stay in. Because there's no abilities in this game either. This was before, again, this is made before Prism. There we go. Okay, it should have... I think Crystal Clear is, one that has abilities other than, Pokemon Prism. If I remember correctly. Let's just get through this and then we'll check on the email. I have to because that number's been up for a long time. It's on one of those, again, I was saying earlier about those negligent telecom... Well, not negligent, but incompetent, I think is the best way to say it. I'm gonna get sued. And there should be a Pokemon Center up ahead, so I think, me personally, I would love to make my own Crystal ROM hack, but just the disassembly, you know. No, we'll stay in. It's just, I don't know. I think the people who are saying that it's easy to use are probably just Linux users who know how to code, which I'm neither. And so that's the problem there. Me personally, I just wish somebody would make a dot executable and just, like, you know, like PK3DS, I think, is the one that I used for the Gen 6 ROM hack for my friend. There we go, our first evolution. Nidorino. Okay. I think as far as disassembly goes right now, they've made one for a Generation 4, and it's not... There's tutorials on it, but they're not complete, and it's just... Yeah. Difficult to use jiggles. Dot executables to me are so much easier to use. Oh, I forgot, it says the fairy type is in this game too, so... I'll have to... See, I'll have to, get a poison move pretty soon. Is the fairy type in? I think it is. We'll know as we go along. Let's see. These. Oh no. Okay, I thought he gave me an item, but no. There's the rockets. So let me pause it here for a little bit while I follow up on that email, because I need to provide the I provided the timestamps. I don't know what they're asking that for. See what I mean? Like, it's competence, man. Alright, so let's just pause it right here and then we'll get back to the playthrough. Alright, and so we're back, and an incredible turn of events right now. I'll have to show this email to you guys soon. When I say that some of these telecoms are incompetent, this is what I mean. So, I've sent the report for these Coinbase scammers. The number's been up for a week. I reported this one last week, I should say. And they just finally, this is the first telecom from outside of the good ones, I should say, that decided to actually call the number themselves. And they verified that, yes, your recording is genuine. I got the same answer as the scammers. As you did, sorry, meaning me. So they finally called the number, and they got the scammer answering as Coinbase. You would think something so simple, right? Like, oh, let me call the number and no, telecoms don't work that way. Let me get the mouse out of the way, sorry. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that. I just finally, where Making some progress. I know the boys are gonna have a field day with that email. And they've blocked the number from what I can understand, but I'm gonna call it back after this and see if that's true, because I really don't trust telecoms at this point. Let me stay in with Nidorino. Because this is poison and I don't want to poison Squirtle. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, but Sidewave? Oh, well. Okay. Okay, so we'll go back and heal up and then go into Mount Moon with our repels. 17. Okay. It's just, I mean, that's the one thing that the boys and I have always been like, griping over is like, why aren't these telecoms just calling the numbers themselves? And like, what's... And I wish I wish I could tell you, but it's not... It's never as easy as it sounds, which is why people tend to believe the unbelievable when it comes to this. This is why people think that certain telecoms are in bed with scammers. But I can tell you it's not the case. It really isn't. Mainstream telecoms are not in bed with scammers. The problem there is that they're incompetent and they need to really, really step up their game when it comes to their support staff and security measures. Because in that same email, it also said that they blocked the person from submitting the same payment info, which is a step in the right direction. However, scammers always have a way to get around that, you know. That's another battle. So again, it's a full-time gig, you know. There we go. We'll switch. This is essentially why, you know, when I first this is like pre-Team Furry. Some lore for you guys. Why initially I chose Nidorino, Nidoking, so to speak, for Generation 2 is because of the amount of poison Pokemon that were everywhere. And so it was to protect the rest of the team from being poisoned. Dragonite was always one of those mons that I wanted to use, but when I was playing these games as a kid, it was very difficult to get those Dratini, let alone a Dragonite, just because of the way the games were structured. Plus, by Gen 2, like, Dragon-type was really... I mean, it was mediocre for a long time. You know, so there was no point in using Dragonite, but once this physical special split occurred, and I was playing ROM hacks at this point, that's when I decided to use Dragonite, but that's also when my niece was born. And, like, as a little girl, she really thought fur was... She still thinks fur, it's adorable, but, you know, the team that I was using was what later became known as Team Furret. And she just, oh, can we just, like, why aren't you using the team from before? Let's get some repels going. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying something different. She goes, yeah, but there's no Furret, you know? She would come into the room when I was playing these games, and she's like, I want you to use Furret, and then that's, you know, where Team Furret was born, so to speak. So then the team became Team Furret, and I just had to just continue using it to make my niece happy. So that's where that came from. And no, it's not the ideal team to use just because there's so many disadvantages when you use it. I mean, it has 2 special attackers and 3 physical attackers. I mean, Furret is not the... I should have switched. It's not the best, but certain ROM hacks give it a little bump in attack. Enough to be useful, but not enough to be, you know... Here we go. Swig of that Red Bull, sorry. Now we'll use Horn Attack. Feraligatr is my favorite starter. But my favorite mon of all time is Squirtle, so that's why Feraligatr is always on every team. Dragonite is just one Pokemon that I always wanted to use. Aerodactyl is a personal favorite, so that's why those 3 are always in my videos, whereas The others are by default. My niece is a fan of Fur, she loves Gengar, and she's a fan of Starmie. And so that's where Team Fur comes from. Although, like, I'm noticing now that Fur is starting to become very popular online. I mean, you know, which is great. I mean, like, a lot of those Mons, they don't get enough love anyway. They're just considered, like, the rodents of, like, the low-level rodents that are not useful. Which is good, in my opinion. In my case, though, like, my niece has a lot of Furt merch, and it gets... you know. There we go, let's continue now. So this is, again, classic Mount Moon from Gen 1. So the layout is the same. Just turn off my AC, it's getting cold in here. There you go. I'm probably gonna have to switch out then. I forgot how tanky Clefairy was in the first 2 generations. In Pokemon in general, they're just tanks in Generation 2. Especially 2 because of the separation of the physical special split. The separation between special defense, special attack, I should say, sorry, doesn't happen until Gen 4, sorry. There we go, now we got our second evolution. Again, it's kind of hard to talk when you have telecoms carrying you, so... Emailing, I should say, sorry, again, there it is. Let me just, Okay, so that's another one that was down. That one was a PayPal refund scam. A lot of refund scams now. I'm also seeing like the Citibank text messaging scams coming back. That's concerning. If anybody's wondering, not all scammers are from India, even though India is sadly endemic to scams. But most of them do come from there, but there's a lot of, fucking hell, man. Really? I mean, just my luck. Okay, so, most of the scams do come from there, but there's also scams that are known specifically for coming out of one area of the world. Some of them are located in the Philippines, some of them are in the Dominican Republic, like the Mexican cartel scams, the grandparent scams, those are all from the Dominican Republic. 419 tends to be from Nigeria, hence the code. That's the code given by the Nigerian government for that scam. And then you also have hang on, let me just finish this out real quick. There we go. Then you also have certain scams that are unique to the United States, like the cop and fireman scams, where like, oh, you know, donate to the NYPD department or the the fire department in New York or whatever the police department is there. That's all an automated American scam. So those actually that's actually a robocall. Do I have Paralyzed Heal? Damn it, no I don't. I just wasted a repel too. Crap. Now I gotta go back. But for the most part, yeah, sadly India, Nigeria, they're all endemic with scams. I don't know why Pakistan is also on the rise too. And the scary thing is, a lot of the scammers operating out of those call centers in India, they're learning different languages. They've learned Japanese to scam the Japanese people through Windows scams. They're learning Spanish, which, you know, to me, that's concerning. as somebody who speaks Spanish, like, because I'll be honest, a lot of people from the motherland, so to speak, like if they weren't born in the U.S., most of them don't know what those scams are, because as crazy as it sounds, a lot of them who grew up in intense poverty never grew up with a phone in their house, let alone a cell phone, because usually those areas don't even have cell service. Like my parents, for example, they're from the motherland. Neither one of them grew up with a phone in the house. No one in their villages did. You know, and so the scammers are learning Spanish, and that's just, you know, concerning, because it's a scam that those people, they've never seen before. They've never heard of it before because they don't have phones. Modernization is happening now in those areas, but still, it's... How do you explain to somebody that somebody from India who learns Spanish is trying to steal your money by impersonating the technology that you're using? You see what I mean? Like, it's just... It's scary, man. And so that's what we're trying to prevent. I mean, it's one number at a time, but still, it's just really, really... It's amazing how the game has changed and where the scammers are going, just to continue to do the same tired scams all over and over again. And yes, sadly, people still fall for them. There you go. You know, my personal belief is that the answer lies within the telecoms, if they can improve on their response time. Because, I mean, the numbers are going through the network. Only they have the power to really shut them off. Like, I have no stock or faith in the FCC at all. I mean, they're just... as someone who's tried to report scams to the FCC, that's why I really don't have that much faith in them. Because nothing ever comes of it. And when you fill out their form, it tells you, you know, this number is not guaranteed to go down, but we will pass on the information to law enforcement. Like, what is that going to do? The criminals are overseas. I mean, what, you know? The idea is that you guys can shut the phone number off, and that's just not the case. Which is why I invest so much time in the, in reporting phone numbers. Let's just save it right here. I wish they would have put the rocket theme for these, but we don't get the rocket theme until we get into Johto. There you go. I know I missed a couple of items back there, but what I want to do is I want to head into let me just get these trainers out of the way. I don't want to waste my repel, so I'm probably going to just come back for it at another time. Once I get into Johto, repels won't be a problem anymore. But you can come back. Once you beat this game, you can't come back to every area, so you don't have to worry about that. Back to War Turtle now. Try to get him up before Nidorina gets to level 20. Or 19, sorry. Okay, let's see. Water gun. There we go. Steamed. I mean, I could have used the Game Shark Coast to give me infinite repels, but let's do it straight. Yeah, we'll keep going. So I don't know why we got Gary's music there, but okay. That doesn't make, it makes less sense now. It's an executive. Gilgamesh? I should have switched to Nidorino. Where have I heard that before? Gilgamesh. I don't know. I'm not really up on my pop culture references. Sorry. Way to age yourself there, 88, huh? You tell kids to get off your lawn? You yell at clouds? No. I'm a busy guy, man. I report numbers all day and I go to work. I'm sorry. Oh, boy. Ooh. Good. I forgot, between all the starters, like, Squirtle, you know, Blastoise, Wartortle, they're pretty defensive. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I used them. I've been mostly using for alligators the entire time, so there we go, level 18. Let's see, 50-50. Okay, so I'm gonna have to defeat the scientist up there, so let's, use our potion. That Moonstone, we're gonna use it later. Because Nidoking will definitely be, one of the important Pokemon to use. So I think that, I think he has electric type, so let's... I don't know, we're gonna find out anyway. And because this is between the fossils, I should say, between, what is it, Omanite and Kabutops, I'm gonna end up choosing, Kabuto, sorry. No Lord Heal. Oh, okay, great call. Poison, even better. Probably should have used Confusion instead. Oh boy, don't paralyze, don't paralyze, don't... Okay, great. Here we go. So I usually have a stacked schedule, so it's... You know, it bums me out that, you know, because I really enjoy annoying scammers. It's a lot of fun. But at this point right now, any free time that I do have, it's usually spent either with the family or listening to music, which the older I get, the more I really appreciate just sitting down and listening to music. I got, you know, I love collecting music. I still buy physical media. Not so much records, but like CDs for the fact that I enjoy first pressings. Instead of like the remasters that are all over the digital platforms. Which, I mean, look, I ain't got nothing against the digital platforms, but a lot of music, and my friends will attest to this too, I listen to a lot of music that's not on those platforms. You know, so like my two vices are heavy metal and, there we go. Heavy metal and, 90s R&B, neo-soul, and hip-hop. And like, let me just pick the fossil. Yes. And so a lot of those, specifically on the heavy metal side, doom metal, traditional doom. And this dome, this is Helix, so this room dome. And so usually when I hang out with my niece, we buy comic books and we shop for some music and records, and she's getting into the hobby now too. She understands now why it's important to have the music, a physical copy of your music, not just to make copies later, but also to have it on your devices whenever you want them. Because I think, like, you're not guaranteed to have your media, your albums on, like, a Tidal or a Spotify, because they can just pull them out whenever they feel like it, which sucks in my opinion. And also, too, like, my niece has my setup in terms of, like, the headphones, the source, which is a specific DAC that I have. It's a very low-powered DAC, but it provides an excellent audio quality experience. She's like, I get it now. I hear everything. And like, I was telling my friend about this the other day. I was like, I've never seen a kid have a Eureka face before, but she certainly had one, and it was, I don't know if adorable is the right word, but we're just gonna use that one. It was nice for her to see that. There we go. Let's check out some of these houses. Also, this is trade, so we're not gonna go here. Let's buy some. Let's buy some gimmicks. We'll do the Nugget Bridge first, because I ain't no way I'm gonna go up against Misty without Bite. I don't even know if Squirtle... does... Okay, let's buy 3 more. 3 more. As you can see, look, the money stacks up rather quickly in this ROM hack, so money shouldn't be a problem to you as long as you... as long as you're careful. We don't need any Pokeballs right now. Just in case, we'll buy 1. If not, we'll just sell it back. Okay, so let's head into the town and see what we can find. There we go. And so, like, yeah, my free time is, you know, when I'm not doing the scam stuff, I'm basically just hanging out. None. I wonder if the rare candy's still here. Let's check it out. I remember, like, in the Generation 1, there used to be a rare candy here, but I don't think it's here anymore. I'm tapping A and... yeah, it's not here. Okay. Let's go then. I don't think they removed the badge boost from this game either, so, like, okay, that house is locked. Alright, so I think we're gonna fight the rival here, so let's save. The hell, we got another email, or...? Yeah, I do. That's a confirmation, so let's continue. Oh, before we do, who's up first? Nidorino? I think Pidgeot? Or Pidgeotto, I think? I don't know, let's just go ahead for it, who cares? We saved, so we should be okay. There we go. And see, it's like the rival music from Gen 1. I wish they would have kept all of the music from Gen 1 for Kanto. Pidgeotto, okay. 8, oh boy. Should have trained. Oh, we're in for a fight now, boys. Could have really used Poison Sting right now, but, well, we're just gonna have to tough it out. There we go. Okay, good. Level 20. Abra, yep. Let's switch in War Turtle now. I don't know how much damage it's gonna do, but okay. See, Zen Headbutt is another new move. And so I'm not sure what moves they what was that line? I'm not sure what move they got rid of for Zen Headbutt, because in order to fit some of these new moves in, they removed some older ones. And so the Game Shark codes that I'm gonna share with you guys, that I've shared, sorry. You're just gonna have to find out from where. So if you want to use the move, you know, the move cheat gimmick, I don't know, you're gonna have to figure that one out. There we go. Thank God for that critical. And I gotta swap out, so. Yeah, I don't want to risk it. Plus, I need XP for War Turtle. I'm not. I remember a while ago somebody asked me about a comment about something called PKHEX. Sorry, swig of that Red Bull. That I don't know if it will work with certain ROM hacks, especially stuff like this, where like so much of the overworld is changed. I'm not sure you could use PKHEX with this one, but if you guys, if anybody watches this and can answer that question, feel free to leave a comment, I guess. I know Game Shark does work with this. I think Game Shark also does work with Pokemon Prism. But in Prism, like, it's much more well documented to this game, because you can actually find a list of working Game Shark codes for Prism. A walkthrough even. I don't think PKHEX works with Prism for the simple fact that they introduced newer Pokemon. But if I was a betting man, I think you have a much higher chance of PKHEX working for this hack, because it doesn't really change the Pokédex. But again, I'm not responsible if your save file gets messed up. So always make sure to back everything up before trying something here. But Game Shark does work, but still, back up your save file. Don't risk it. Let's try the Nugget Bridge now before I get back to this telecom. We're going long today. Caterpie, okay. Should be easy for Ward. Level 10. Okay, well. I heard the news too from my niece that the next Pokemon game, excuse me, is going to bring back Mega Evolution, and she's like, they're making Mega Dragonite with Team Fern. I'm like, what? She showed me the design. She's like, it looks awful though. It kind of does, but I mean, just, you know, again, I mean, they brought back Mega Evolution, so I can't complain. I liked Mega Evolution, even though I wasn't around when it was first introduced, but it is a fun gimmick. I like it a lot. And Mega Dragonite is, I don't know how you can make that thing more broken than it already is, but alright. You know? Kakuna will stay in. Honestly, it just makes me happy that, like, that Pokemon is still around. I haven't really kept up with much of what was going on in terms of, you know, Anise brings me up to speed, but she's not really a player of the game. She just enjoys the merch. But I'm glad it's around. Like, I remember this was like one of the bigger aspects of my childhood was comic books and Pokemon, and I've always enjoyed the first two generations. Gen 3, like I said, I mean, it's no secret, I'm not a big fan of Gen 3. I've explained the reasons why, but, you know, I just remember being a kid at the height of the Pokemon fever for Generation 1 and then later 2 and then Pokemon Stadium, which I never played, but it was fun times. You know, and I remember vividly, like, I mean, Blockbuster's not around anymore, so I can say this. But I remember when Yellow version came out, this was like in the late 90s. And, my dad had he had like a Blockbuster card. But you didn't necessarily need a membership to buy something from Blockbuster, you just needed one to rent. And so they had games for sale. So I remember Yellow version was the newest game and they had it for sale, but it was selling for like, what was it? I don't remember what the price was. But anyway, they had like these display boxes in Blockbuster. So like you had to take the display box to the counter to actually buy the game. And so myself, a couple of my cousins were walking around the store because my cousin was there to buy Pokemon merch. And so my cousin had the bright idea to take the Yellow version box. He's like, look, man, I need somebody to trade with me. He goes, this is what you're gonna do. The Pokemon Yellow version box had a sticker on it that says for display only, see register. My cousin peeled it off. It easily came off. And he placed a sticker that said $3.99 on the Pokemon Yellow version box. He's like, go up there with your $6 and buy this game. I'm like, yo, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, we're gonna get caught. He goes, we're not gonna get caught. I need you to trade with me. Come on. Because my cousin, out of everybody in the family, he was the one that had all the video games. Because, you know, when you were a kid, you always had either a friend or a relative that had all the newest games. All the cheat codes. My cousin was that guy. And so, I'm over here like, I have to be at least 11, 12 years old at this point. I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna go for it. You know? And my cousin knew what he was doing. He saw the store was full and, you know, there was only 2 people at the register. He knew exactly what he was doing. And so I go up there and I present the box to the guy. And the guy looked at his partner who was clearly busy. And he's like, screw it. I'm, you know, $3.99 plus tax, $4.95. I had $6 on me. And I walked out of Blockbuster with a brand new Pokemon Yellow version cartridge that I still have to this day with the same Game Boy from that era. The battery somehow still saves. And I still have it. And so I remember looking back at that event as a kid, as an adult, sorry. And I thought back to all those news reports about parents freaking out that Pokemon was a bad influence, it was satanic, all this other nonsense, right? That just happens throughout history for some reason. And I said to myself, you know, maybe they had a point after all. Because, you know, my cousin lied. He never traded with me. To this day, I've never traded Pokemon with anyone. I never had a link cable. My cousin had a link cable. He never wanted to trade with me. And I'm like, yo, you said we were going to trade. He's like, nah, I just wanted you to have Pokemon Yellow version. I'm like, man, you dumbass. I'll just never forget that, though. That was, you know, probably the only time in my life, and I can honestly say that I did something really, really awful in terms of, like, breaking the law. Because I've never broken the law in my life. You can take that for what it's worth, but I can honestly say I've never did, except for that one time. But, you know, statute of limitations is over. I was like 11, 12 years old, and Blockbuster is no longer a thing, so... You know, plus I never went back to that Blockbuster ever again. Nobody ever came after us anyway. You know, it's not like I use my dad's Blockbuster card, you know? Of course, we also went back to that Blockbuster many times over. They never... never caught on. Okay, so... Oh, boy. Well, we're getting water gun spam. But I remember that Pokemon Fever, like, really, really well. It was really a fun time to be a kid back in the 90s. I know that sounds cliche, but, like, so many cool things came out, like, you had to be there to really enjoy and appreciate the Fever Pitch that happened during that time. I remember going to the Pokemon Center, because this is when they had actual physical Pokemon Center locations. And I remember going there trying to get a Mew because that was the only way to really... This was before I knew about the Mew glitch, because this was like pre-internet. Damn, man, I said no. And so the only legit way to get it was to either to trade or an event. And I once again doing bad things for Pokemon. I skipped school to go to the Pokemon Center, and again, no one thought, like, what the hell is this kid? No one said any of that. And of course, it didn't work because by the time I got there, the event had already happened, so I wasn't able to get a Mew, so that was a waste of time. But it was fun going there because I did ended up picking up a couple of Pokemon merch that I still have to this day too. And that was, again, that was back when Generation 1 was already obsolete because Gen 2 was out. Confusion? Okay, so I'm not gonna get bite. This is... Oh boy, this is gonna be it's gonna be tough then, boy. But at least I'll be able to use it because of Four Turtle Special, so let's go ahead. There we go. So another myth too about Generation 2 was like Gen 1 just cling on to it like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Guys, we were making fun of Gen 2's level curve even back then. We were like, how the hell does Lance have a dragon at level 50? Like we were, it's not like we weren't talking about these things. We knew and we still enjoyed the games for what they were anyway. Fun is the key word there. Like we had a lot of fun playing Generation 2. It's a fun game. It is obsolete by today's standards just because of how much Pokemon has changed mechanically, but it's a fun game. Is it very easy? Yes, absolutely, but it is a fun game. And so it instantly made Generation 1 obsolete. If you think Generation 1 is obsolete now, imagine Generation 1 and then when Generation 2 came out, it was an instant case of making it obsolete. It's hard to imagine now because, you know, so much time has passed, but that's really where things were back then when the second generation came out. Okay, so let's just make sure there's nothing else over here. No? Okay. So I think this guy has an Onyx, so we'll stay in with War Turtle. Okay. Oh, damn. Oh, but I have confusion. Okay, we're good to go. You know, if anybody's wondering too about the Game Shark, certain tasks in this ROM hack, specifically in the post game, Falconer or Faulkner, for example, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. In order to trigger the rematch with him in the post game, you have to capture all the legendary birds, and this is not a case where you can use Game Shark to cheat it in. You have to complete the task manually because the game won't allow you to use Game Shark. Like, they've thought of everything, these developers. Like, they'll know when the task is complete. It's already built into the game, so you can't. I don't think you can use PKHEX, for example, to trigger that event because that event wasn't in the original game. Remember, this is at this point, this crystal version is different, you know. So I don't know if PKHEX does work, which I don't think it does for that reason. I don't know how far you're gonna get with that. Same thing with Game Shark. You have to solve the puzzles. You have to catch the legendary Pokemon for those tasks. And so luckily I have videos explaining how to do that already. But if you guys thinking about using Game Shark, it's not gonna work. Which, again, like this, I think this ROM hack, as good at the ideas in it were very good, but overall it's like they weren't implemented correctly. This is a case where it's too smart for its own good. I'm not even talking about the clauses for rematches. I'm just saying in general. The puzzles, I think, were much too difficult. Simply because there's no documentation or anything like that for these hacks. So it's, you know, it will piss you off. Given the comments that I've received, it's pissing a lot of people off that they can't find any videos on this. I'm going to stick with War Turtle since now we can. There we go. Although I do look forward to making calls again on this new PC because it is a powerhouse. I might even do like a play along with my lead developer of the ROM hack that I made for him. I think it was for X and Y, and if he's up to it. But it will be like a play along, but it'll also be educational. In terms of how to avoid scams, what to look out for, and so forth. Because I think that's something that's lacking. Whereas there's a lot of videos about trolling scammers and stopping their operations. I don't think there's enough out. This is my personal belief. I don't think there's enough in terms of warning people, educating them on what to look out for. This, you know, what scams actually look like in terms of like tech support scams or refund scams or publishers clearinghouse, which that might become a thing of the past since the recent news stated that PCH has gone bankrupt. Now, that doesn't mean that those scammers aren't going to try to pull that scam off, you know, but once more people catch on to the fact, and really, if you're watching this video, you have like an elderly member, because that's who they target the most, the scammers who run this specific scam, which usually comes out of Jamaica, sadly. Make sure your elders or anybody older in your family know that Publishers Clearinghouse is currently bankrupt and winners are no longer going to be paid. So if you get a phone call from a scammer or your older one's getting a phone call from a scammer, please let them know that there's no prize to be had because they're going bankrupt and people who have won in the past are no longer being paid. And so the excuse might be, well, we're just sending out money to the people that won because we don't have. That's also a lie. It's over. It's done. So the scammers are most likely going to switch to Mega Millions. But please, let anybody who you think might be vulnerable know it's over. There is no such thing as PCH anymore. It was bought out by another company. There's no more payments. Oh boy, that's gonna hurt. Future Sight is gonna probably knock out Nidorino if I don't take this thing out. Oh boy, there's Future Sight. Oh, hang in there, buddy. Hang in there, hang in there. Oh, okay, great. I'm gonna have to heal up now. There we go. Those are very difficult to get rid of, by the way. PCH scams, I mean, slowpokes too, I guess, if you're low level, but they're very, simply because of how they operate. It's not like the scams that come out of like those illegal call centers in India, for example. Like these guys, they send robocalls out, usually using spoof numbers. So again, the common thing that most people do who are unaware of how to deal with scams, they tend to report the number that gave them the call instead of waiting for the message, which gives you the number that you're supposed to call that the scammer will answer. And so reporting a spoof number, of course, there's nothing there because the telecom will come back. If they know what the telecom is and they know how to report, right, they'll just tell you this number was spoofed. There's no, you know, you can't do anything about it. The real gimmick, so to speak, is the pre-recorded message will load the number you're supposed to call, and it will always be different than the number that calls you. That's why they're so hard to get rid of. And of course, a lot of scammers, they don't really answer the phones, which is ironic, right? Like, that's what they want, but it's... PCH scammers are some of the most notorious scammers to deal with because they play the long game. They're very cautious. They're not like the scammers you see on YouTube that get trolled for, you know, I mean, it's easy to troll a PCH scammer if you know what you're doing, but they're a lot smarter. They're more cautious, I should say. And they're probably the worst ones because they will take everything from a victim. They will just clean out their entire bank account. It's really sad. And they target elderly people because they're the most vulnerable, you know? Usually it's somebody that's down on their luck, is alone, isn't living with like a son or a daughter or nearest family member. It's sad. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that make fun of certain victims that fall for scams just because, like, oh, how could you fall for something like that? You don't notice the accident, guys. On any given day, anybody can be scammed. It really, it's not a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of where are you in your life? Are you the type of person that's financially comfortable to the point where you can just ignore, like, a supposed opportunity for more money, right? Like in PCH? Or are you down on your luck and you're, you know, and you might have entered lotteries or had a history of entering lotteries. Next thing you know, you get a call out of the blue, you won Publishers Clearinghouse. You see what I mean? That's how they get people. So it's not a matter of intelligence. Oh, boy. Always remember that. Anybody can be scammed. There we go. I was saying Onyx and it was right here and, you know, whatever. Let's get this guy so we can go up there. Okay. Rat man. Speaking of, like, Rattata or Rattata, whatever your preference is, in the ROM hack I made for my lead developer, I actually bumped some of these early game rodents as they're known. So like Rattata in the ROM hack that I made actually has the ability Strong Jaw, and boy, it really makes the Rattata line a lot more usable. Eradicate. Granted, it still can't survive a hit to save its life, but it can do serious damage with an ability like Strong Jaw. Like Hyper Fang and all the biting moves. Ice Fang, Thunder Fang, etc. do a lot of damage. I forgot I was supposed to defeat all these trainers. So, well, one day I'll probably get to that, as if my developer is up to that. If not, I'll just upload it with me on commentary, so I apologize in advance. There we go. I'm getting some more emails on the way, so I'll probably have to... I'll beat Misty and then... Or actually, I'll, let me just check the severity here. Okay. Oh, well... It's better than Poison Sting, so I'll take it. Let's get rid of Tackle. Sandshrew, yes. If nothing else, if you can't stand my commentary, which, you know, I totally, it's fine. I accept criticism. At least you'll have some form of documentation as to look out for in terms of the trainers in the game. And there's also many traps there's a trap. There's a game-breaking trap in the when you get to the SSN. So in a way, I'm kind of happy that I'm doing this over again. It's an intentional trap, and that they put in here, and just oh man, I remember doing that in the beginning. I'm like, yo, when is this gonna end? And it was an intentional trap, man. Fuck the developers for doing that. You'll see it. You'll see it when it comes up. Okay. We'll stay in. I might catch some more Mons before leaving, before heading to the SSN, I should say. Just to fill up the Pokédex and have them in my PC, in case, you never know. I mean, I am going to use Team Fire, but still, you never know. Maybe that might change along the way. There we go. So I remember one time someone asked me if there was a way to either check IVs in generations 1, 2, and 3 along with the EVs, and there isn't. Gen 3 was probably the closest we got of the original 3 where you could check EVs or IVs. But that was all the way at the battle tower. And even then, it doesn't actually tell you about your EVs or IVs, but you'll know that they're either maxed out or perfect if you get the badge for it. That's how you can tell. But in generations 1 and 2, there actually isn't. And so while you can maximize your stats in generations 1 and 2 through stat experience, there's really no way of knowing when your stats are maxed out because the game doesn't actually tell you. So that's why in generations 1 and 2, like, it was possible for your Pokemon stats to continue to rise even though they were at level 100 because that meant that your stat experience wasn't maxed out. So, like, to put it in perspective, stat experience is done by the wild Pokemon that you fight. So, for example, if I fight, like, let's say I fight 100 Pidgeys, my stat spread will start to look a lot like Pidgey's stat spread. So that means my speed will be higher than my attack, my defense, and so on. Why did I say no? And so while speed might be the first one, and special attack might be the other stat that will max out first, you can still max out the remainder of your stats because you're still getting stat experience. It's just that it'll be a lot lower based on Pidgey's stat spread. And of course, that means doing it over and over and over and over again. So it's a long. That's why we used to do it with Unknown in the Ruins of Alph, because Unknown had the same stat spread across the board, so you knew which was going up and which wasn't going up at a certain rate. You could count it, but it still was very tedious. The way I used to do it was through Ditto, which was even more tedious. Since Ditto had an even stat spread, it was less battles compared to Unknown, but it took longer simply because Ditto wasn't found commonly throughout the game. It was only found at night at a specific route. And so your best bet, if you're doing it legit, would be to either just do it through the Ruins of Alph and keep count through your moves, the PP of your moves, or use Game Shark and find a way to trigger. There we go. Trigger wild Mew battles, because Mew, a lot like Ditto, Mew stats are all even. So instead of having to do like 1,000 Unknown battles, I forget what the number was, it's actually cut down to 656 for Mew. So that's how you would do it, even at level 100. Because all your stats would max out at the same time because of Mew stat spread. That's how it works. Now, there's nothing I can do about IVs. That's all. You have to breed for those. And again, there's no way of knowing if you have perfect IVs, because the game doesn't tell you that, but they're done through breeding. And of course, me, the furthest I ever gotten through breeding was just for moves. I didn't really care about IVs. So. There we go. I didn't get hit by Future Sight. Okay, great. Okay. I think that... I forgot what that one was. I think TMs also are unlimited in this game, too. Thief, okay. So you don't have to worry about, cloning TMs. Let me just heal, and I gotta answer these emails. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We're going very long, but, let's just answer the email, and then we'll get back to this. I should save also. And then we'll take on Misty. And then we'll be done for the day. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so we're back. It turns out that War Turtle does learn Bite at level 23. And so I decided to just do some grinding and get my Pokemon at level 23 since I don't actually know what level Misty's gonna be at. I'm assuming probably like around 21, 22 maybe. And so we're ready now, at least for Starmie. In the meantime, we'll put Nidorino up front first. Since he's close to being at level 24, I kind of overdid it with him. Hang on, I need to make a call, because once again, these numbers come in, so give me a second while I check this number to see, make sure if it's down.
Number you dialed is not in service at this time.
There we go.
Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
What was a Ring Central number? Get the mouse out of the way. Ring Central uses Envoy numbers too? The case of Envoy, whatever, let's just... It's down, and that's the important thing. So it looks like contacting Cinch through the web form does work, but Jesus Christ, is it a pain in the butt. Oh boy. That's another thing too, that a lot of baiters, I'm pretty sure they're aware of Envoy, but from what I've seen myself and the boys, Envoy is just a pool where certain telecoms get numbers from. Envoy itself it's not a thing anymore, it doesn't exist anymore. So why those numbers are appearing as Envoy when they're being used by other telecoms is beyond me. Which makes it more difficult to identify what they are. Really, Horndrill? It just wastes time. Because had I known it was Ring... Well, I mean, Ring Central's another one of those that's problematic. But in this case, right, if it was another... We know who some of those resellers are that use Envoy numbers on the Cinch network. Other telecoms use them too. We know who some of them are. And in many cases, it's just a lot easier just to go to them directly instead of having to go through Cinch. So, like, that number, for example, that was a number reported yesterday, and nobody contacted me about it. Which is typical of Cinch. They don't obligate anybody to contact them when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't know, I'm just continue here, but... I mean, it's down, that's the important thing. That was a PayPal refund scam, too. Which seems to be on the rise again. Using residential numbers now instead of toll-free numbers. Alright, let's, level 18, okay, so I may have overdone this. Rain, okay, maybe not. No, I'm definitely not the switch. There it is. We're gonna put in War Turtle now. Got Bite, so let's try it. And of course, Harden. Why not? Oh boy. It's bad experience, ladies and gentlemen. I am gonna use Haze, but actually no, I'm just gonna waste a turn. When Misty decides to heal up, that's probably when I'll use Haze. It's gonna harden again, so I don't know. Let's just keep going. Hopefully I don't get confused. Okay, great. There it is. Okay, it's Misty down. Okay. Let's see what TM she gives me. TM 18. Is this Rain Dance, I think? Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna have much use for that. Weather isn't as advantageous in Generation 2 as it would later become because you have to waste a turn setting it up. You know, weather became more prominent once the abilities came in and you could just set weather automatically. So this is pre-weather dominance. What TMs do I have right now? I should check. Sunny day. String shot a TM? Why? Nothing interesting. Okay, so let's evolve Nidorino. Because I'm pretty sure we have to fight Blaine. I mean Lieutenant Surge for cut. Or either way, it's just important to have Nidoking now. Because we are going to go into the SSN and I can't get the bicycle yet, so let's just do it. Also, you don't get running shoes until Johto, so you have to. Once again, it's a slow burn. Why is that door locked? Oh boy. Damn it! How did I do this before? Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. It's been a while, guys. I have to let the boys know that we got Ring Central numbers now on Singe. Wait, no, what the hell? How do I... Oh, through here? Really? Oh, okay, well, I feel stupid. Let's just continue. Like I said, it's been a while, guys. So who's up first? Nidoking? Let's swap to Wartortle. And get some more XP because he's close to being a level 20. She's close to being a level 25, excuse me. There used to be items down here, but I guess they removed them. Stay away from the grass. Oh shit. Oh well. There we go. Okay, maybe I should have not switched. Anyway, we're near a Pokemon Center. We do have Antidotes and Confusion, so let's just keep it moving. It would have been nice to have Bubble Beam, but I forgot. Yeah. Caterpie. Yes, let's bring in Nidoking now. We'll stay. There we go. Let's skip these guys for right now and just head into Vermilion City so this way... Oh boy. Okay, good. Because I really want to get that SSN out of the way and at least hit in a Johto, and then we'll call it a day, because we are running along. Hopsy. It'll also give me a chance to take a look at some notes that I have lying around for us to what's required for the SSN. Flexi. Let's stay in. It's probably a grass type. Watch. Oh no. I forgot these damn nicknames. Next time use water gun. Ah, you giant jabroni. Flapsy. Let's just swap because my accuracy down. Okay. We got one more, and then we're in Vermilion. I think we are gonna have to do the SSN first because we got the ticket. And if this is anything like Generation 1, which it is, we need to go there. Okay, so yeah, so this is the end of Kanto. Because the SSN part of this game will force us to go to Johto. That'll be another part. Oh, good flinch. Remember, this game has the physical special split in it, so Bite is now a physical move, whereas in the original, all dark type moves were special, I think. Ghost was physical and Dark was special, which, I don't know, didn't make any sense. Because there weren't that many Ghost types in the game. And all of them, I think, were special attackers. There's some ROM hacks that flip it so that it's the other way around, but they're essentially still the same game. So let's go to the Pokemon Center and we'll stop. And I'll record another day, so to speak. I'll do my best to get these out more frequently. You know, I'll try to set aside some time. The weather is changing. So hopefully I'll have more time indoors to either make calls or record some of these. I know there's a lot of people out there that just want the calls, and there's other people that don't want the calls and want the Pokemon games. I'm trying to find a happy balance between the two of them. Why am I saving again? Between the two, but it's a weird gimmick, you know. It's totally fine if you don't like the walkthroughs. It's totally fine if you don't like the calls. It's also totally fine if you unsub because, you know, this is the way it is, but the walkthroughs will have some things that pertain to scams. I just don't want people to get confused as to what this channel is. This channel is both. If there's a happy medium that you can find, great. If not, totally understand. You're not obligated to do anything. But that's it for this one. We went very long today. I'll try to get the next one up pretty soon, so take care, guys.